All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Eddie again, and I'm super excited to share with you a great interview here on somebody who's really great at inviting. So what I want to do is I want to share this video for those of you that are trying to grow your network marketing business and you're looking for ways to just get better at inviting. In fact, I'll bet if you look at your compensation plan, the way it's set up, I guarantee that if you could just develop one skill to ultimately move through that compensation plan, it would be to develop the skill of inviting and to develop the skill of teaching other people how to develop the skill of inviting. So it's all about inviting today. And I've invited a very successful entrepreneur, someone who's very good at network marketing. And I'm going to have her tell her story in a second. But what I'm going to ask her is some questions about how does she develop the skill of inviting, what are some of the things that she uses, and at the very end we're going to go through her strengths, as I always love to do, so you all can see how she does this authentically with her strengths. And then at the end I'm going to invite you all to get your strengths too. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce you, PJ Auckland. Oh my gosh, I almost messed up your name again. PJ Auckland-Hall. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Eddie. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Now, and just so everyone knows, where do you live, PJ?
I live on an island, actually, off the coast of Australia. So literally a few meters. So I always say I avoid going to Australia as much as I can. I really love my island.
Okay. And what's the name of the island?
It's called Bribie Island.
Okay.
And it's here in Queensland, which is sort of in the Moreton region. If you know Brisbane and Sunshine Coast, we're smack in the middle. So lots of kangaroos jumping around. You may see me distracted because there'll be one running past. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful flora and fauna sanctuary. It's incredible.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, I look forward to visiting Australia or in that area pretty soon. So thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, let's just get right to it. First off, before we start talking about how you like to do this business, I would love to know if you could share, what is it you love about network marketing, the whole process, the experience, maybe even the networking idea of it. What is it that you love?
Yeah, look, I'm going to be honest, and I didn't leave school to become a network marketer. And in fact, that's probably the biggest barrier or the biggest label that we put on ourselves. And then we walk around with this t-shirt going, I'm a network marketer. We have all these darts happening at us and social media, friends alienating themselves from us. And so what I want to say is, I love business. I love being in the business of business. And I know for a fact that network marketing is probably the easiest way to set up a business, sustain a business, and use that. Dave Sterling, our CEO, has said this, use that as a platform to catalyze yourself into whatever it is that you want to do, to what you love. If I decided to set up tomorrow as a florist, I'm going to be limited and bound by the bricks and mortar. I'm going to be limited and bound by having to show up to work every day, that temptation of having to open a shop and close a shop, get staff and all of it. And we're looking at least $15,000 just to set up. And what do we have in network marketing? Regardless of the product, it's pretty much an entry-level kit. It'd be anything from $100 or some are zero to, you know, maybe $2,000, $3,000, depending on what you're getting into. And from my point of view, I personally cannot think of another model that starts with success in mind. And for women, I can only speak from a woman's perspective, but for women and men, but for women in particular who have lots of hats to wear through the day, you can morph into the businesswoman and morph out of businesswoman just as easy. If you have a disability or if you have a health issue, you can go and lay down for 3 or 4 hours, open your laptop, answer the emails, close the laptop, and it's as though you're there. And you're still being present with what it is you're trying to do. So that's why I love network marketing. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love the way you kind of share it. When it made me kind of think of how my wife, when I watch my wife doing the business, she's in her office, which is a little room just to the side of the living room. So my kids will be, you know, they just got home from school, and she's sending out emails or responding to messages or even doing videos. When she puts it down and immediately walks out in the living room and is, you know, like you said, putting on the different hats, she's mom. Yeah. And you know, when one of the things I love about doing network marketing for this long, I'm not sure how long you've been doing it. I'll bet by the way you talk, it's been a while. And so you kind of get good at that transition process where it's like when we first started out, it was really difficult to move from one thing to another. Speaking of when we first started out, I would love to hear was there something was there like an event or maybe series of events or things and experiences that you had that made you decide, I want to do network marketing? Because I mean, and because I know in order to be successful with this business, it's like a very focused amount of time. It's not like you do network marketing and a bunch of other things and then your business is successful, right? It's like a focus, right? So I'm curious if there were events or series of events or experiences that kind of led you to go, this is what I'm going to do right now.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to do this. I was not interested. And we know that in dōTERRA, for example, 85% of diamonds and above said, yeah, no.
Yeah, it wasn't their natural first choice.
Don't look at me. And what that says is, for dōTERRA especially, is we're not looking for people who fit the norm. We're looking for people who don't want the norm and then realize what they have. In my case, I was actually convicted in the spirit. It's a long story, but to put it briefly, I had no interest. I was enrolled by a lady called Vanessa Jean, who everyone knows all around the world. And I was a dear friend. We'd met in Egypt. We had both encountered essential oils in Egypt. And we had both had this feeling that we needed to get out there and do something in the world, and that essential oils were the way. We both had that independently. So she came and visited me. I could see that she was doing all this networking stuff and I could see what she was doing. I thought it was awesome. It wasn't for me, but I rang her and said, so she lives in Perth. So that's like New York to LA. And I'm saying, hey, why don't you come over and visit us in LA and open my home, and I'd love to see you, want to see what you're doing. Oh, you'd be so good at this. And I'm like, I'm so not doing this. I'm doing this for you. I had 43 people in my lounge room that night. And I was stunned going, wow, I'm not the only one that feels this way. So that's sort of where the inspiration took hold. There was a little bit that went on before that, really through my connection with God. But this was the path, regardless of how I felt about it. It was all what was lying before me. And what I realized, again, what I realized was it was a tried and true formulaic model. It was carried by a company that knew what they were doing. It was about, in our case, and depending on the business that you get into, but for our case, it was scientific research and pure product with incredible values. And it was the incredible values that meant a lot to me, and that's what drew me in. So yeah, that's basically how I started. I remember thinking, people want this and they're showing up to this. I need to get in on that. That was my creative gist.
Okay, so this is spirit guided. This is product led, and then when you look at the people, it's like, okay, how do we make sure that more people hear this? This is kind of what I'm getting from what you're talking about. These were driving factors to make you go, okay, this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
So speaking of getting, go ahead.
Aspect, almost like a self-administered healing. It was abundantly obvious to me that big pharma and big grocer and big medical, think of the bigs, was not the answer for humanity. And I'd already made that decision, 15 years ago. Yeah. And there was something here that was giving us permission to get on board and look after ourselves, and doing that naturally. And I just thought, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, this is part of the thing that drives me as well, is when you see how loud the traditional methods that don't work, how loud they are, so that people hear those traditional methods and so naturally gravitate towards them. But you saw that those traditional methods not only weren't working, but they were actually moving people backwards. Yeah. And so I'm hearing that it's like the feeling of seeing that these loud, traditional methods were something that needed to be talked about. And it almost feels like you were on like a mission to help people know there's an alternative. Yeah, absolutely. There's a different way.
Mission is the word. And I was convicted in the spirit of that. So for me, it's part of the Great Commission. Yeah. 1000%.
I love that. Okay. All right. So, well, I want to kind of get into your inviting style, like the way that you invite people to this. One of the reasons why a lot of people don't do network marketing is I hear this a lot, is there's like a fear of some sort of a social rejection, from people that they love and care about. And I bet you've seen this too. There's a lot of programs and sales programs sold online where they say, and I'm hoping to trigger you with this, where they say, here, let me show you how to sell or grow your network marketing business without bothering your friends or family. Now, I get the sale of that. However, if you have a product this good that makes this much of a difference in people's lives and is this spirit guided, why wouldn't you bother your friends and family, right?
Absolutely. Who do you want to go on a cruise with? People
say that again, please, because that was awesome.
Who do you want to go on a cruise with? People that you don't know or people that you do know? Who do you want to go to Tulum with? People that you do know, people that you don't know. Who do you love and who do you see your vision with? Now, some people are more family orientated than others, and some of the black sheep, and I tend to attract a lot of those because I'm one as well, and a bit of a solo, we dance to the beat of a different drum, right? And so we're looking for those people. We're looking for family, we're looking for community, and it may, as the Bible says, it may not be your actual flesh and blood. In a lot of cases, we're running that solo. So we're recreating that family. And yes, it can be found through new people. Wellness is a very personal thing, and people don't want to open up about all of the bits and pieces that are falling apart in their lives unless they've established connection with you. So it suggests that they've at least had some kind of warm interface with you and not just cold calling, plucking from some AI thing that drops into your messenger box and is answering all the questions on behalf of you and not having any tone. These are all the things that they've been throwing at us in the last few years. Yeah. And it's like, yes, great idea. No, this isn't going to work for me. And I abandon it all and keep going the way I've been doing, which is one by one by one, because that's what works.
Yeah. So I get the feeling that, well, let me ask you this. Before I get into your questions about inviting, do you feel more energized one-on-one with somebody, or do you feel more energized in groups, or do you feel like you can fluctuate well with both pretty effortlessly?
Look, most people don't believe this, but I am naturally shy. So if I was born today and I grew up to be a 6-year-old, you would see this incredibly painfully shy 6-year-old who was not fitting into her world. And over time, as I grew and developed, I learned I'm a learned extrovert. So I can get energized in a room. I love, probably what I get most out of is connecting and bringing people together and creating that spark. I'm a real connector by heart. That to me is, I don't need to be part of it. I just need to see you two getting off. That's great. Yeah. And I've got my job in the world. That's where I don't need to be the center of attention. I do like to be heard, like most women, and I love to teach. I love to teach. I love to give them perspectives and throw some things around and coach and guide and mentor. Those are the things that I love to do. And this platform lets me do it. That's
amazing, right? Like, you when I used to work for a large corporation, you had to work really hard to move in the positions where you are of more influence, like you had to work your way up, if you will. And I'm feeling like what you're saying with network marketing is that we kind of already have those positions with certain people, then we can start right away gathering and connecting and giving that spark, like you said. So when we're talking about, you've got this wonderful thing and you've got access to this wonderful thing, and you've even got access to maybe, a certain size and network of people in your life and business. And then there's all these people in the world that are out there looking for what you have. What are some ways that you invite them to just consider it or look at it, or maybe what are your thoughts and what are your philosophies? And then of course, what are some of your processes when it comes to inviting?
Okay. Well, it'll depend on where I'm at. Like I said, I'm naturally shy. So I still, to this day, have avoidance that comes up. I have resistance. There are so many things I go over with myself every day. Why haven't you done X? It's right there. And it's like, oh, I can't. So let me say at the outset, I have all the resistance that everybody has. But what I do like to do, and the way I have learned to work over, certainly in the last 6 years, is to be Christ-led. Let the Holy Spirit show me what I need to do. And I use synchronicity or timing, and then it's here. And I don't have to work so hard. So I'm not engineering every moment of my day. That actually doesn't work, because it can lead to some dead ends, and then it's more energy to come back from that.
Oh.
Or you can literally just wait to see what the day entails, or what the month, what's going on in the month, and then go, okay, this is, now I have all the things, and now I just need to make them work. It's a little bit like a cake. You have all the ingredients. You can make do with some of the ingredients that you don't have. You pull together the cake because the ingredients are right in front of you. You're not actually going out, grinding the wheat, or you're not going to engineer the cake. You're literally using the ingredients you have. And when you come at it from that level, then there's much less likelihood of things like burnout and identity. So when it comes to inviting, you have to invite yourself. And I've been saying lately, what has been coming through for me is you give yourself, as a woman, you're giving yourself permission to get out there first. Because if you don't give yourself permission, no one else is going to give that to you. And they're going to give you a hard time to see whether you're worth what you say you're worth. That's part of the growth in any business.
Yeah.
But specifically this, and this is where a lot of people say, oh, network marketing doesn't work. No, what doesn't work is you and the way that you're approaching your business. So for me, I have to trick myself. I have to put a little mindset around what I'm doing. I have to create something and let this ideation flow through me, and then go, oh my gosh, I could do this, and I could do this, and I could do this. And then I start to engineer around what's here and what's now. Now, our business, as you know, doesn't give you much time to sit around and ideate, because before you know it, the month is over.
The month is over.
You're doing month end into the 5th day, and then, oh my gosh, I need to remind everybody about their product of the month on the 15th. There's a lot going on. Yeah. And for that reason, planning and theming, I like that word, theming what you're going to be doing in the next 3 to 4 months is very crucial. So you're like feeding yourself with these concepts and these ideas. So when it comes to inviting, it's done, because you've already envisaged the room full. You've already seen the bums on the seats, as it were. Yeah. I used to be a recruiter, and I use a lot of my recruiting knowledge in there. So someone would say to me at work, and bear with me because this analogy is pretty strong. Okay. Someone would say to me, okay, we need think of a boring job, actuarial. So boring. Okay. And it's maths and data, and it's looking at weather and pulling it together, and nobody cares, but it's instrumental in insurance, right? Yeah. I'm like, how can I, there are no actuarials, we need them. Can you go find them? I'm like, oh, thanks. So I would go out, and before I wrote the ad, before I started out with my external recruiters, I would go, okay, give me an idea. What's the team like? How does it feel? What does it look like? What's he going to be doing every day? What kind of personality is going to work in there? He goes, I don't care about the personality. I want you do when you recruit him. Oh yeah. So we're getting the look, we're getting the feel, we're getting the sense of what this team is going to be like and what you're trying to fill. So we're creating a container. And I do the exact same thing when I'm inviting. If I invite someone to one little workshop to see if it works, see, nobody likes it, I'm out. You're only validating your negative processes, right? Yeah. But if you think to yourself, as an example, what we've done with Aroma Touch. Aroma Touch is Aroma Touch. It's a method and a technique that we learned by the illustrious Dr. Hill. We love him, but it's been disparate in terms of how do I make this work? Well, I kind of visualized that the Aroma Touch technique would work very well in a retreat setting. So instead of doing one event, I decided to do a series of events And this series of events would be in a retreat format. They would pay, it's a high-end price point deliberately. I don't want everyone to come to that. I want people to come and relax. And I love on them. As you can see, I've got a lovely setting in the back, complete with my Aroma Touch towels. I'm just about to do one. And I forgot they were there. And I create this beautiful thing that people want. They want to relax. They want to nurture themselves. They don't have a lot of money. So as long as it's under sort of, I say, as long as it's under $300, that's achievable and people are prepared to spend that. Here in Queensland, it's $1,000 to have a retreat day or a retreat weekend. So I'm pitching at that market and I'm looking for a bit of that pie. I'm looking for the women, the men and the couples. I've got a couples one that I'm hoping to launch. I've started one now, but that, again, that's a one-off. The one-off won't work as much as a series of events. So if you can bring it back to what's inspiring to me, what do I want to teach? How do I want to show people? And what is their pathway process? Once they come to this, is this it? Or are they going to come to a follow-up session? And then are they going to come to a practical session? And are then they going to come to a networking session or a business meeting that might be small, or it might be a weekend-long thing? And if that inspires you, then you're going to show up in that in all the ways. You're going to reach out to your peeps, and they may be brother, sister, or maybe not, the people that you love, and say, I just see you there. And I've got this thing and I'm really looking forward to it. I was putting together the list. I'm sorry, Simone, but I actually really need you there because you're part of this and you don't even know it yet. Now try saying no to that.
That'd be hard.
It's not that I'm selling it. I guess I am, but I really am believing that, you know, she is an element that I want in that room, and that I know that stuff that she doesn't know yet about herself. And I really want her to come and play and be part of this. And if she says no, great. But at least she said no to what she understands rather than saying no to something that she doesn't understand. Okay. And most people will go, oh, okay, all right, I can't stand it. And even last night, I was saying to that same girl, I'm sorry to be so persistent, but I just see you there. And she's like, yeah, I agree. God must want us to come together. So let's do it.
Okay. There was a lot of great stuff you just shared. And I'm usually really good at keeping things like that in my head, but I was like, it's so good. I started to write down some notes. So I wanted to just kind of share with you what I'm taking away from, because it's brilliant. But the first thing, I think the overall arching theme here is getting connected to an energy that you want to attract to your business. It's not like, how do I find people and sell them a thing and then see if they want to do the business with me? It's more like making the decision of what you want to experience with someone before you even go out. So what it does is it kind of puts you in that right mindset to be open to receive those people. So I'm hearing about a lot of, I'm going to bet you spend a lot of time connecting with you. Yes. And understanding you. You've done a lot of work to understand clarity of yourself. Yes. And I think that would be really important to help people understand, because not a lot of people, I'm sure you've figured out, have done that mental work, that personal clarity work. And I already know your products help people with that, right? Yes, absolutely. So that's what's awesome about the way you approach this is getting centered, getting clear. What do I want? I'm visualizing a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, a lot of breathing, a lot of inviting God into your business.
3 hours a day. 3 hours a day.
3 hours a day. That's awesome. That's so good. Okay. Yeah. And then once you are in that place, you have invited yourself to come out. Yes. And that was so cool.
I've got the armor of God on, I've got that armory. I've got the, if you don't believe in God, if you're looking for that protection, it's actually called the armor of God. And you're going to go out there and those darts, they're not going to mean anything because well, in our case, if you don't get the oils, chances are you're not my people. So I'm actually looking for my people. So what is lovely is that the oils select our tribe for us. And that's where I'm not a big sampler. I've always enrolled online since the very beginning. I have a global team, a big presence in France, a big presence in Florida. They love me in Florida. A big presence here in Australia, and obviously in the UK. And I've never sold to a sample. They've come in on my conviction. And I can say to you, you can sample, of course. And some people need that conviction or that reassurance. But actually, it's connection they're looking for. It's community they're looking for. It's belief they're looking for. They're buying your belief. They don't have it, so they look to you to believe. And if you truly believe in these oils and the products, because it's not just the oils, it's a whole lifestyle. If you're thinking sell kits, sell kits, sell kits, I think you're shortchanging yourself, actually. I think that we're inviting people on a holistic journey to well-being that is suitable for anybody, no matter what the faith, no matter what the path. It all brings us down this same trajectory of self-administering wellness that's accessible and ultimately free. Because if you're doing it right, you should not have to pay for wellness. And that's what dōTERRA is all about.
Right.
You shouldn't have to pay. It should be free. So if I'm positioning this as, you know, I know that you're new, but I really want to help you get your oils free. What? And I'm like, trust me. And I did this with a girl in Florida. She'd been in dōTERRA 7 years. She'd only ever paid retail. Nobody had told her. And I said to her, look, give me 4 months. 4 months, as long as you haven't ordered in more than 6 months, I can bring you across. 4 months is all I need. And you will get those products free. And guess what? It happened in the 3rd month. And again, I couldn't guarantee that was going to happen, as you well know. Doesn't work that way. But I made the promise. I set the intention. She had the belief, and she's now getting her products free. So this is perfect. And it means that she gets a little side income, and then she can decide whether or not which path she takes, whether it be for herself, family and friends, or build an empire. That's up to her.
Well, I can see that these kinds of experiences are what drive you, because you are so detailed about, like, I feel like I can imagine, I can see the person you're describing. Like, I can see their hair color, I can see their height, I can see what they look like, what's on their mind with the way you describe it. So obviously these experiences are what drive you to this. This has been awesome so far. And I want to make sure that the audience is listening to this piece about making the decision in here first, and then going out, because it seems like a lot of times we do that. We try to do the business backwards, which is, let me just tell everybody about it, and if it works, then I will personally invest, right? And what you're saying is that's the opposite. And then setting up these great events for people to have these experiences. And I think when you're talking about sampling, oftentimes we're taught, you know, take your product, give them a little bit so they have an experience. But what I'm hearing from you is that the sampling of the product isn't the required action. It's the experience that's the required action. And so you can give that experience to people by giving them a product, or by giving them of your energy, or inviting them to be a part of something special. And that experience is the thing that is required, is what I'm hearing from you.
Absolutely.
So good. All right. Well, I have some guesses about what your strengths are,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna guess them. I'm just gonna, let's just put them up here. I want to get my screen here, and I want people to see what your strengths are, how they work, so they can understand how this is authentically your style. And I think more importantly, I want to make sure that the people that are watching this aren't going, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to get exposed to multiple different ways of doing things. So, and given that is true, we're going to start with your top 5 strengths first. If you could read them to me.
I can. So my top number 1 strength was a shock. It's strategic.
Not a shock to me. That was going to be my guesses, but that's okay. Let's keep going.
Me, because I was told I was always the dumb one.
Well, let me explain with strategic. Can I just, see, this strategic is my number 1 as well.
Oh,
and
not surprising.
Yeah. So what the theme with strategic is that no matter what, and you would say this to anybody, just like I would, come to me, and no matter what it is you need, we will find a way.
Yeah.
That's what strategic is. It's knowing that there's always a way. Even if I don't know the way, I'm going to find the way because the way exists, right? So maybe in that context, you'll see that's totally you.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Ideation.
All right. You brought up that word a couple of times, and I'm guessing it's because you probably saw the strengths. So let me just share one
And
thing
I
about
love it.
ideation. It's a great one.
Yeah.
So one thing I've learned about ideation is that people that have ideation high are energized by looking for the things that most people are missing out on, trying to find the detail. Like, you know how you're the kind of person where if you see everyone looking at the big shiny object, you're going to point out the small, not so shiny object that is just as important, but probably even more important. And you're trying to go, hey, everybody, that is great, but look at this. Is that you?
Absolutely. And I am one to call out the elephant in the room as well, because that elephant, if it's got a moment, we can calm that down and continue to move on with our creative thought processes. Till we name it, it's still a pain. So that's what
a lot of times people don't quite understand the feedback of somebody of ideation. When you're pointing out something they're missing, you're not telling them there's something wrong with them. You're just pointing it out because that's what you do.
Yes.
And it's hard to help another person receive that kind of feedback without taking it personal. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's number 15 for me, so I still get it.
Okay. Right.
So
but it's also that creation mentality that feeds the soul, that is separate to who and what we show up as, and is basically creating that that creative platform for us to continually come up with these ideas.
All right. So there's always a way, and there's always something people are not quite getting that they need to see. Let's go to what's number 3.
Number 3 is activator.
All right. So activator is a very, what I call an impulsive strength, right? It's like you get an idea, a feeling, an inspiration, and then people to do things with. And the invitation to do the thing with you will come before there's even a plan on how to do the thing.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Because for you, hey, there's always a way. So what difference does it make?
Yes.
And with me, a part of it, we're going to catch all the things that we need to catch. So these 3 strengths play very well together for you, obviously, right?
And then maximizer.
Maximizer is 4?
Yeah.
All right. So maximizer, never satisfied. It's never enough. No matter what we do, no matter how great we are, there's always another level to achieve until our creator has said your time is done.
Yep.
He's the decider of when we're done, not us. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Number 5?
Futuristic.
Okay. So if you're going, this is what I call futuristic, a judgy strength. What that means is that if we're going to do something, the word should comes in, right? If we're going to do something, there should be a vision of the future that does not currently exist that needs to.
Yes.
Right. So there's a vision that needs to exist that doesn't currently exist, and we got to work towards it. We're going to never be satisfied until we're there. We're going to follow our impulses and move quickly. We're going to point out the things that most people are missing, and we're going to find a way no matter what. Yep. This is your strengths in a reverse order. So this is totally you, and it's in everything that you discussed when you talked about inviting. Now, let's go to 6 through 10, and I'm going to share something with you that a lot of people miss. It only because from this point forward, this is how I teach strengths is a little different than how it's traditionally taught with Gallup and so on. So let me get 6 through 10 real quick, and I'll show you what I mean.
Okay, so 6 is connectedness.
All right, hold on 1 second. Okay, that was all and everything. This is right here. This is no matter what's happening, it's happening for a reason. God's involved. That's number 6. Number 7.
Adaptability.
Okay, we go with the flow, whatever has happened, adaptability. Okay,
Achiever.
and achiever is number 8.
Yep.
Okay, and number 9.
Arranger.
Okay, no surprises here. Number 10.
Positivity.
All right, no surprise there either. Okay, so here's what I'm going to share with you. So we got 1, 2, 3 strategic thinking strengths, and then 1, 2 influencing, 1, 2 relationship building, and then, oops, sorry, I messed that up. 3 relationship building. Oh, darn. Hold on. I went too far.
Oh, good.
All right. So 1, 2, 3 relationship building, and then 1, 2 executing. All right. So what this is responsibility like 11 or 12?
Self-assurance.
Where's responsibility?
26.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Fascinating. Okay. So what we're looking at here is first, what one of the things I do is I look at the top 10 and I find the ones that you have 3 or more of in the top 10. These are what's called leadership domains. And in essence, everything you do begins with the desire first to use your mind. That's that spirituality, that's that centered, that's the visualizing, the strategizing, the theorizing, all those things. Then connect with the right people.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom line. That's the beginning of all things for you. So whenever you feel drained or de-energized or feeling like things aren't going the way that you had hoped would go, it's always going right back. Get your mind right, and then go connect with the right people, and everything fixes itself. Everything works to your favors. Yes, is that true?
Mm-hmm.
So there's another concept that I want to share with everybody, that this is my own thing. This is not a Gallup thing, where I've categorized strengths in what I call judgy and accepting.
Mm-hmm.
So how this works, and I'll help you understand this real simple by looking at your strengths. So strategic is what I call an accepting, ideation a judgy, activator an accepting, maximizer a judging, and a futuristic as a judgy. So strategic says, no matter what I need to do, there's going to be a way. I've accepted that. Ideation says that if everyone's focusing on the big thing, then they need to also see the small thing. That's a judgy concept. There should be focus on the small thing, just like the big thing. Maximizer said we should be focusing on what's great about us, not what's broken, because we're not broken. Futuristic says we should be working towards a vision of the future, not just, floating around with no goals or no targets, right? Yep. So that's the concept and difference between those two. Now, in your top 10, when we go to connectedness, and then adaptability, and then achiever, then a ranger, and then positivity. So you've got an even balance of what I call judgy and accepting, but you begin with a judgy concept. Now, let me explain what judgy is so you don't try to attach it to a negative connotation. Judgy basically says that there's a certain rules that I need to know that are being honored in order for me to feel absolutely comfortable to be my best self.
Yep.
So like you had mentioned before, like if you're not down with the products, then you're not my people. So that's part of your rules for you to feel 100% comfortable.
Totally. Yep.
So now if we were to put those two together without even looking at every one of your strengths, we begin everything best with first a judgy desire to honor a vision, that's mind, and honor a connection of who the right people are. Everything you said in your inviting style is exactly what that is, right? I have a desire to connect in a certain way mentally, and then connect with a certain people in a certain way. And when I do that, then I'm in authentic flow.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
So without having to look at all your strengths, we know that already. Now let's look at the bottom strengths. So we know what are the ones that we never have to worry about being. And this is my favorite, because this is where the audience gets to feel like, oh, wait, this person's not perfect. Oh, isn't that a good thing? Because that's what we need. We need to see that vulnerability, which I know you're good at.
Absolutely. I actually teach the strengths as well.
Love
and
it.
I say, I want to see your top 5 versus your bottom 5. And hands down, so far, it seems to be the case. People are working so hard on their bottom 5 and ignoring their top. And it's like, so we just got to flip that in the work.
Yeah.
And let this go. So this made me laugh because, like I said, I was shocked that I was strategic number 1, because I'm not strategic, which is what I was told all my life. I am, because of the way that I think. So my bottom ones were...
Start with number 30. Let's go with number 30 first.
Significance.
Okay, hold on one second. So remember when you said, I don't want it to be about me?
Yep.
Remember when you said that? That's this.
Yep.
Right? That's it. I don't want it to be about me. That's significance. Let's let's go to 31.
Competition.
Right? I'm not interested in look at that. I was writing I'm just going to write this down. Competition is comparison. That's all it is.
Yep.
So I wrote comparison because that's what I was going to say. But
Yep.
competition means that you're de-energized by comparing yourself to other people.
100%.
Right? Okay, so cool. Let's go to 32.
32 is deliberative. Yeah. Nothing about me is deliberative.
So what I see whenever a person has this low, and that would mean for you, is to overthink. To overthink anything that is that has anything to do with, like, processors or systems. It's for you, it's about people. So I'd be surprised if I didn't see analytical in 33 or 34, but let's see what happens.
33 is restorative.
Okay, that's not surprising. Right, that's in many times, and often cases, not always, but often cases, it's the opposite of maximizer. Maximizers focus on what's great, restoratives focus on what's broken or needs to be fixed, we'll just say. 34
is harmony.
Harmony. Okay, you and I both have. What's that?
I can be a hand grenade.
That's exactly what it is. You and I both have the same number 1 and 34. What I've learned is, yeah. So what I've learned is that there's always a way, and sometimes that way might not be comfortable for other people, but the way must be honored, not necessarily someone's comfort zone.
Absolutely. Do you want to feel safe? Do you want to feel comfortable? And safe and comfortable aren't always the two things. Sometimes you've got to feel unsafe. Not all the time. So the cortisol is running at, ridiculous levels and creating burnout. It's I called myself Bam Bam this week from the Flintstones, right? And someone said, I realized that in business I have to break things. And I went, yeah, just call me Bam Bam, really. I have broken so much that I thought for sure was the path, only to realize, no, we got to break this. We got to break this. And so therefore Bam Bam comes to play. That harmony can be stifling. Harmony can be a veneer for me. That's not, I know Emily writes, I think her number 1 or number 2 is harmony. So she's all about belief and harmony and making sure that everything comes together. And that's a strength for her, but it's not a strength for me.
I've broken down Emily's strengths. I don't remember harmony being up there, although it could have been. I would be surprised if it was. Yeah. Only because, one of the things I love about her is that there is a genuine love that's externally shared. Yes. But within, there is an intense desire to move people forward the right way, and when you're around her, you feel it. And for you, it's like, I do best when I'm honoring the learning and the connection, and not necessarily the worrying about whether or not people are getting it or not, liking it or not, those things.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you ask me as a parent, I'm like, Mom, I hate this. Good, let's keep going.
Yes, that's totally low harmony. Yeah. All right. To sum up, then, this is awesome. So you do everything best when you connect, when you're using your mind to think and create and learn, and then connect with whoever the right people are for you, as far as you're concerned. These are the right people. The right people are people that believe in opportunity, believe in energy, believe in focusing on what's great about who we are, believe in being visionaries, right? That's an important one. People who believe in hitting benchmarks and finish lines, people who believe in uplifting experiences. This is all of your strengths that I'm sharing. And I get to say this to you, and you get to say this to yourself, you don't ever have to worry about whether or not they're going to like it, because you have already decided this is what's good for people. You don't have to fix anything because there is nothing to be fixed, right? You don't have to overthink this because the thinking is already done for you when bringing those right people. You never have to compare yourself to anyone, and you never have to make it about you. These are your bottom 5 to say, I don't have to. Instead, I get to number 5 and number 1, have that vision of the future that I want to see, and know that no matter what, there is a way to get it.
Yeah. And another thing is, everyone's different. So if they don't have this, or this way of thinking, or they're strong in their executive, for example, not strong in their strategic, borrow mine. It's all good. You know, you can, I've got this map for us as a team, and you can lend in on that. It's for everyone. You know, if you have a gift, it's a gift for everyone, not just me. And nor are you broken if you don't have that. You don't have any excuse, because I've got it. So together we got it all.
Yeah, and I can see why your inviting style works so well for you. And I think it's important for people to understand they don't need to do it your way. But I love that the principles were shared. You know, it's about getting clear about what you want and setting up experiences for people. That's the bottom line. And how you do that is a very high energetic way. And I'm so glad I got to connect with you and get to meet you.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Eddie. It's great. It's
yeah.
an honor to be able to spend this time with you today.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all enjoyed PJ. She's amazing. And just so you all know, I did today was the first time I've ever had a conversation with her.
Yes.
So that was kind of like cool to just kind of connect so quickly. I want you all to know, is like, share in the comments what value you got from this. How did this help you? And of course, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, because I've got more coming for you. Petah, once again, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's very powerful to help people understand these concepts from, people who have obviously been doing it a while. So thank you.
Yeah, it's an absolute honor. And if you're thinking about coming in and being part of this, one of the first things that used to strike me was, when's the other shoe going to drop? This is too good to be true. Well, 10 years later, no shoe. As we say, so come on in, the water's fine.
All right. Yes, there it is. Perfect. Let's end on that. Thank you, everybody.
See you soon. Bye.